Hello, and thanks for checking out our video on beginner tips for cyclists. There's tons of videos out there about cornering and all these different items when you're already on the bike. I'm talking about true beginners who are just now taking up cycling. They don't know what to wear, and they don't know what to do. They don't know anything as far as the size of the bike, what they need and everything. So let's start with what to wear. We're gonna go over the dreaded topic of, do I wear bike shorts or not? Yes. You need to invest in some bike shorts if you're going to do this continuously. Can you get on the bike and go ride in your underwear and shorts? Sure, no problem. Go ride out there for about 20 minutes. Next day, you're going to find out why people wear bike shorts. And it's not for the reason that you think. It's not because the pad on the short create some sort of buffer there where your butt's not going to get sore. That's not what it's for. That chamois, that's what the pad is called. The chamois is there to prevent chafing and areas to rub raw that your underwear will rub you raw. So with that being said, people aren't going to tell you this. They may just poke fun at you whenever you ride around and show your big underwear lines. You do not wear underwear underneath your bike shorts. I prefer bibs. Some people prefer the bike shorts, especially women, because it's easier to, when you need to take care of your business, it's easier for them to get off than for a guy. Okay, now you have the bike shorts and you said, I want to wear these, but I don't want to be seen out in public with these tights and people looking all at my business and stuff hanging out. That's fine. I get it. We all felt that way when we first started. Wear the shorts or bibs, but put some regular shorts on top of that. To where you're still getting the benefit of the pad, but you're a little bit more comfortable being outside. You want to be comfortable enough to go where you're going to ride and do this often, because it's the whole point of this. And if it takes a little while for you to be comfortable in those shorts out in the public, that's fine. You'll see plenty of people whenever you go on group rides at different bike shops that they're at that stage too, to where they're wearing stuff on top of the bike shorts. And then you start to realize that unlike high school, these people aren't really making fun of you, because it's a very welcoming sport. That's one of the things that drew me into the sport, is that I've had people say that came from motocross backgrounds and said in other sports like that, they said, man, everyone here is just so nice. They're welcoming. They want you to do well. They want you to succeed. It's strange. And that I can't explain it, but that's the way it is in cycling. Are there groups that are one-offs that are elitist and rude and things like that? Sure there are. But in general, cyclists are very welcome, because the reason you're picking up this and wanting to do this is one of the reasons that we were there at one point in time. All these people that you see that are fast and fit on bikes, they didn't necessarily start out that way. They probably started out just like you. So don't be afraid of that, but at the same time, I understand. Okay, so let's get into helmets. You see people out there riding with helmets on, and then some people are not. And let me tell you from first-hand experience, get comfortable wearing a helmet. Especially today with people out texting in vehicles and just people not paying attention. I'm not saying that you're going to go right out on the roads, but you're going to cross the sidewalk at some point in time, and someone's going to be walking or running and they don't necessarily see you, or a car, things like that. So put on the helmet, because when you least expect it is when something's going to happen. Take a picture look at my wife here, at this picture right here. We were riding something that's super easy. There were people walking with baby strollers, and we still can't explain what happened to her. And if she hadn't been wearing this helmet, she might not even be here today. So we're very thankful that she had that on. All right, next topic we're going to talk about is sizing, specifically seat height and the sizing of the bike in general. Seat height. I realize that starting out, you're probably going to be more comfortable with your feet touching the ground, meaning that your seat is very low. You see a lot of beginners that are doing that, and they're slammed on the seat post to where they're riding around and their knees are almost into their chest. It may seem safer, but I assure you it's not more comfortable, despite what you think. If you don't believe me, When you get done, your quads are going to be sore, your knees are going to be killing you because you're just using one solid motion. It's like a leg press that you're going up and down. Starting out, if that's more comfortable to you, that's great, because you don't want the fear of falling over and hurting yourself. Once you get past that point, start to move the seat up a little bit to where you start to get a full range of motion to where you're using all the muscle groups. I'm going to provide a chart right here that you see that shows the leg extension that you're looking for. You don't want too low and you don't want too high. So too high is to the point where your foot is at 6 o'clock and what I call it, at the bottom of the crank at 6 o'clock. And if your hips are rocking or it's full and your legs fully locked out, that's too high. Bring it back a little bit to where you have a slight bend in the knee when your foot is at 6 o'clock on the pedal stroke. That will give you full range of motion, and everything will feel a whole lot better. And then when you're using all the groups, you'll notice you're going faster. You're not sore in one specific spot. You're going to be sore in everything. But I need to bring that up as well. When you first start riding, you're using muscles in your butt and in the area between your butt and your stuff that don't get used for anything. I don't care how fit you are, how much you work out, you're going to be sore. So your first start ride, I'd say let's start at 20 minutes, something like that, to where you minimize the soreness, but it's going to be there. But the only way to get rid of this is to continue riding. And what I mean by that is, okay, let's take a day off, one day off. The next day, it's still going to hurt. Get on the bike, start riding. You'll find out that the soreness is going to go away a little bit. And then when you get done, it's like, okay, this hurts, but it's not unbearable. And then just continue doing it. If you ride once and you say, I'm so sore, I can't do anything, and you go 2 weeks and you do it again, you're just starting over. You have to start working out those muscles to where they get used to that type of motion and pressure. The next thing is sizing on the bike. I'm not saying go out and buy a brand new bike right away. If you have one in your garage, hopefully it works. Let's use that. And but once you start riding and becoming more frequent, riding around, you want to make sure it is the right size for you. You don't want to be that big guy on a bike that's too small where you're overextended over the top of the bars, and you don't want to be that little person on a humongous bike to where you can't control the thing. Look at this chart that I'm providing right here. It will show you it's a rough guide as far as for sizing between mountain bikes and road bikes, as far as what size, height you are, your inseam, and what works best for you. Is it the gospel? No, because all bikes and manufacturers are a little bit different. Someone small may be a little bit bigger than another one. And a local bike shop will gladly help you out with that. But if you use this as a general guide and you come across a used bike that's around that size, you should be good. You can make it work, whether your seat needs to be extended up a little bit higher or you put a longer stem on it to make you more comfortable. You should be able to make that work. Okay, the next topic I want to go over on this video is flat pedals versus clip-in pedals. A lot of people say, oh, there's no way I want to ride in those clip-in shoes and be locked into the bike. Okay, that's fine. Let's start out with flat pedals. There's nothing wrong with that. I know people who have been riding for 10 plus years who still like flat pedals. Not necessarily for the road, but for mountain biking, they feel like they can get off the bike faster. If you watch some downhill riders and everything, they don't use clip-in pedals. It's mainly clip-in pedals have a good reason to use that. You're locked into the bike to where you can get a full range of motion and you're going to be able to be as efficient and as fast as possible. So in that aspect, I would look into clip-in pedals at that point. But starting out, ride those flat pedals. Ride them until you think that, hey, my focus is now getting faster out on the roads. I want to try the clip-in pedals. Okay, when you get to that point, be prepared. Maybe wear some sliding shorts or something like that, something to protect your hips and your knees, because you're going to fall. You're going to fall over to the side just like a big tree falling over, and you can't do anything about it because you're not comfortable in clipping the feet. So just be prepared for that. Elbow pads are good too. We've all been there. It's happened to all of us. I've never met anyone who's been perfect and never fallen whenever they've started using clip-in pedals. But once you start doing that, you're going to see as to how much more efficient they are, and it's going to feel funny to you as far as riding a bike that's not clipped in. Okay, that about wraps it up for this video on the beginner tips. I've covered some areas that most videos don't normally cover because this is true beginner tips. If you have any other questions, feel free to message me. I'll be more than happy to help you as far as with what we covered in the video so far. Just know that the reason you're wanting to get into cycling is because you want something that's going to be beneficial for your health and as far as losing weight and everything, but it has to be something that's fun for you. When I first started back a little bit, like right around 2008, I was looking for something to be fit, but I despised running. I did not like lifting weights. It just wasn't fun to me. And then someone asked me to go mountain biking one day, and I said, sure, I got a bike in the garage. And I went out with them, and I was hooked ever since then. I was definitely in over my head whenever I went out with them. But that's the whole thing, the whole progression of the sport. It's very challenging. Okay, I want to get to this point. You know, just I remember first starting out that when I would go ride these trails, my whole purpose was, okay, I'm going to stop only 4 times this time on this 9-mile segment, you know. And now, I mean, stopping, you know, for me is an issue to catch my breath. That's not the problem. But it's just fun, the progression of it, and everyone's willing to help with the sport. So I hope you enjoyed everything that we've covered, and I hope this helps someone. Thanks, and see you next time.